Hi there, it's Heather from Creative Sage, back with another magical mentoring moment for you today. If you were here for my last video, then you know that I'm going to start doing my best to address common themes that seem to come up in my magical mentoring sessions with individual clients. I feel like if I get the same sort of questions over and over again, um, this is probably something that's plaguing or sitting heavy on the hearts of more than one person. So if I can do something to lighten that emotional burden, I'd like to give it a try. So before we get into our topic for the day, I had a question for you. I was wondering, when you get up in the morning, do you consciously decide how you would like to experience your day? So, meaning like you wake up and you already know you have this massive to-do list. Do you decide that that list is going to become a big burden and you approach the day with anxiety and already feeling overwhelmed? Or do you receive it as a blessing that you have these things and you'll do them as you can do them? But even woven through all of that, you're still going to enjoy the day with full and present intention. In my experience, a lot of people don't even take a moment to decide to be present for the first breath of the day. One of my very first clients, when I first started doing magical mentoring, came in and she sat down, and right off the bat, her question slash statement to me was, um, along the lines of, the whole world essentially is a horrible place, so I don't really know what I'm doing here. And she sort of left it at that. And my immediate reaction was, oh, like, this is, if this is how this is going to be, I might be not the person, might not be the person for this. And then I realized she was absolutely right. If you choose to look at it that way, this world truly can be a horrific place to be. However, if you choose to look at it from a different perspective, and make no mistake, it's a choice, the world is a pretty magical place to be. I love to live from the idea as often as possible that the most magical are the things that we truly find in the most mundane. The greatest miracles are the things that happen when we haven't done a thing other than pay attention. So, for instance, my response back to this woman essentially was, "You're right. But have you put your hands on your heart at all today and gotten exceptionally quiet and paid attention to the fact that your heart is beating on its own? You're not doing a thing. You're simply here and you're present for it. And somehow your heart is beating. And if that isn't some sort of a miracle, then I don't know what is." Now, I understand that in the grand scheme of things, with um, so many things out in the world that we could pay attention to and say, this is all just really bad, that maybe it sounds almost a little simplistic to say, if your heart's beating on its own, then this is a really good day. But I would challenge you to start to think about what your perception of the world has been up to this point. And if all you've ever looked for are devils, then why would you be surprised that all you keep finding are devils? And if you decided right in this moment that for at least the next 45 minutes, you're going to look for the grace and the gift and the miracle in all of it, won't it be amazing when that's all that you can find? I think that we get very caught up in the human aspect of our grand expectations for what this life is supposed to look and feel like. We are in a web and a beautiful tapestry and a mosaic that is not just us. There are all sorts of souls involved in our everyday experiences. And we can either invite those souls to be a blessing, and as they cross our paths, we can see them as medicine and miracles and sparks of divine holy light like they are. or we can find fault with them. In which case, you find fault with one, you will tend to find fault with the all. So I was sort of thinking that maybe we could pose a challenge to ourselves to be in a place of awareness, at least for the first moments when we open our eyes each day. And before you spring out of bed and get yourself into the shower or get the kids ready for school or breakfast or whatever it is that you have to do, what if you just laid there for a moment and put your hands over your heart, called your attention to that dull, beautiful sound that you're hearing, and just for that moment, you said thank you. Today, I'm going to experience the world from this place of a heart that is beating on its own. And what an unbelievable miracle that I get to know this again for as long as this is going to go on. I realize that the next breath will probably have something to do with all of the tasks at hand and things that you have to do for the day. But if we're lucky and if we are discerning in how we choose to experience the day, perhaps it'll be easier for us to call our attention back to that heartbeat and that thing that's happening so naturally. And maybe the other things, they won't seem so intense, and maybe we'll start to shift our awareness from the things that aren't working to the things that are working quite beautifully, and more importantly than that, quite miraculously without you really having to do a thing. So I started this by asking you what you would like your experience of this day to look like. And I'll end it the exact same way, with the hope that as you go on with the rest of the day, you remain present and you remain very intentional in terms of what you really would like your experience of this day to be like. And maybe you'll begin to realign your thinking and you'll see that there's a lot more joy available to you just in the space you're sitting in right now versus the negative things that have been much louder and much easier to pay attention to. If you have questions or if this brings something up for you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Or you can always go to the website and we can schedule a time to have a bit of one on one magical mentoring together. In the meantime, be present for this day. This is a gift, and it is, make no mistake, it is a beautiful and holy gift, and one that I hope you will remain always grateful for, knowing that nothing is promised. So you may as well enjoy it and celebrate it as the blessing that it is right now. Thank you so much for being here, and I will look forward to speaking with you again soon. Bright blessings to you and yours.